Today our subject of teaching is about two truths, the relative truth and ultimate truth. And relative truth is mainly about how things appear, and ultimate truth is about how things are, the nature of the phenomena or nature of things. And because sentient beings does not recognize the truth of the phenomena, truth of the individual's mind, they constantly wander in samsara, limitless time. As we discussed details about samsara, the studies or the studies teaching, and because they have been in samsara and clinging to the reality, and then the result of fixation on things, they experience tremendous suffering and wander in samsara for limitless time. So then you might wonder, when did we actually wander in samsara, or when our mind is deluded? Actually, that is to say, beginningless time. We have been in samsara beginningless time. And then you might think, if that is the case, can we liberate from samsara? The answer would be yes, because you have the ultimate, nature, or the nature which is the source of liberation, and we definitely would be able to liberate from samsara. And generally speaking, the ultimate truth is beyond our mind, and it's something I cannot describe how the ultimate truth is. And we have been samsara in the beginningless time because of our own ignorance. The ignorance we are talking about here is so-called ignorance, born within us. And because we have ignorance, and you just simply turn your mind outwardly or facing out and enjoy the objects, and you follow the objects. Therefore, you don't never really face the in, so to speak. Turn your mind in and look at the nature of mind. Therefore, you have been in samsara all this time. And because of the this ignorance which born within us, causes us to cling into ourselves so strongly, and we also call I, or the omnipotent I, or the I that born within us, or because you forced by the ignorance, and then you cling into yourself as I. The self or I never really truly existed. Nevertheless, because of the ignorance, we often fixated as I, and because you yourself clinging to yourself as I, and then you also clinging to others as others. And these two clingings, source of the attachment to oneself and surrounders, and attachment to oneself and anger towards others. And then eventually or gradually the attachment and anger increase strongly, and that causes us to wander in samsara, in the 6 realms of samsara, over and over. And when we talk about ignorance in Maripa, in Tibetan, Mari means didn't realize the nature of our own mind. That to say the Buddha nature. Buddha nature is always within our mind, but because of the ignorance, we never really recognized. So that is called relative. A relative term in Tibetan as kun. Kun means all. Zo means said everything appears. Everything appears to us not really existed truly. Therefore, Zo means more like delusion. And even though things not really existed, as we mentioned earlier, through our strong fixation, the cause to increase these defilements, and then get an accumulation of bad karmas, and that's why we are still in samsara. And why they call it relative truth? The truth means that until we liberate from samsara, it is true for us. The result of bad karma or good karma are actually unchangeable, or often they never deceive. You often have to experience regardless according to our own action or the cause that we performed. And therefore, because we didn't recognize the nature of things, and we wander in samsara from realm to realm, throughout the samsaric existence. The second, Dhamma goes to the path. When we talk about Dhamma normally refers to the practice of virtue that we practice through body, speech, and mind. And when Dhamma goes to the path, the path referring to awakening path, a path of liberation, which is the practice that we do preceded by bodhicitta, combined with bodhicitta. And as long as we generate bodhicitta and practice, we will slowly achieve the state of Buddhahood. And if you don't have bodhicitta, just like we mentioned a moment ago about the arhats who went through tremendous hardship, and but they never really achieved the final level. And therefore, we have to practice bodhicitta. Bodhicitta means that we have the loving kindness, which is thought or motivation to help all sentient beings, and we have the compassion, which is desire to remove all sufferings of sentient beings. And generally speaking, every being has the compassion and loving kindness, but it's limited. It's just have partial loving kindness, compassion. And as we mentioned yesterday, that everyone has Buddha nature, but they don't recognize their own Buddha nature. And practitioners like us, we recognize Buddha nature and meet the Dharma and know how to practice. And especially you received the Bodhisattva vow yesterday. And as long as you generate bodhicitta before you practice, then regardless of what you do, whether you have you do practice a lot or small, it is preceded by bodhicitta, and you can say your Dhamma goes to the path. And even though you practice a little bit every day, still you are going to the path. And just like we but to give example, you study about the drop of water, eventually fills the vase, and our hearts, because they are lacking of loving kindness, compassion, and they have to, they just achieve their own level, but after many eons rest in the state of cessation, and then they have to arise from that state, and finally they have to enter the path of Mahayana, and then they slowly achieve the Buddhahood. Now the third is path dispels the delusion. Now the delusion has a big meaning behind. That is to say, when we talk about abandoning the ego, or kleshas, it does not mean you simply grab ego and throw in garbage or something like that. There is no any kind of solid material that you have to throw out, but rather you just to simply practice the Dharma. Would automatically you abandon the kleshas. For example, with the six perfections, 6 paramitas. The first is the generosity. You actually dedicate all your virtues to all sentient beings. That means you gave all your virtues, and then the greedy is not there. Greed is opposite for giving. Therefore, you are automatically abandon the greedy. And likewise, if you protect the moral discipline, then you are able to overcome your attachment. And if you practice patience, you are able to abandon the anger, because the anger is another thought, and patience is another thought. Therefore, they must be two thoughts together. And if anger is there, then there won't be patience. Patience there, there won't be anger. And when you delightfully practice Dharma, that means you overcome your laziness. And when you rest instead of nature of mind, or practice Shamatha meditation or Vipassana meditation, you are automatically abandon the distraction. And finally, when you realize the nature of mind, and it displays all the darkness of your stupidity or ignorance, and therefore just practicing these 6 paramatas would abandon all the kleshas. You don't need to find separate method to abandon these kleshas. And after you abandon these kleshas, and then you never accumulate any karmas. And once the karmas can stopped, then you will never wander in samsara. Therefore, this the delusion, the path dispels the delusion, means like that. The fourth of the four dhammas Gambopa, which is delusion arise as wisdom. It's connected with the Vajrayana path. As you know, we all have this ignorance within us, and the six kleshas cause us to wander in samsara and experience tremendous suffering. And the arhats like Shavaka Buddha and Padika Buddha considered the kleshas as poison, and they try their best to get rid of this poison and then escape from samsara and achieve their own level. And in both of us, they simply stop by practicing the six parameters, and they don't really treat the poison as strong as arhats did. But the Vajrayana, they actually consider these delusions, kleshas, as most beneficial for them, for their practice, because the kleshas, the nature of kleshas, are the wisdom. They are wisdom, and because why we the arhats and arhats treat as poison is because they didn't really realize the wisdom. They didn't know the skillful means of transforming the kleshas into wisdom. And because Vajrayana practice understands that, and therefore the first the ignorance or the stupidity, the nature of stupidity is the Dhammadat wisdom, and it is not like you just washing clothes. You just wash clothes, and after all the dirty things comes off, and then the cleanness of the cloth comes up. Not like that, but rather as soon as the klesha arises, it is already wisdom if you realize the nature of that klesha. And the anger, like Bodhisattva practitioners normally meditates on patience, kind of stops the anger, but in the Vajrayana context, they just simply look at the nature of anger and transforms into the mirror-like wisdom. And he said, he doesn't really know details, but this is a brief explanation, on this regard with the Vajrayana context. So, all of us have this greedy. The nature of greedy is economic wisdom, and through the power of delusion, we have attachment. When we have as long as we have delusion, all these kleshas are now named as attachment or greedy or all this. But when we recognize the nature of these kleshas, and the nature of attachment is discriminate wisdom, and the jealous. We often have the jealousy to other people. Is the nature of jealousy is accomplished activity of wisdom or something like that.
Unaccomplished.
Yeah, accomplished wisdom. And in this way, we don't have to find a special method to special method in order to overcome these kleshas. Rather than looking at the kleshas and let the kleshas arise and rest in the state of the nature of kleshas, and by resting in the state of nature of kleshas, you are able to accomplish the realization. And likewise, we have this body, and the body formed with blood and bones and kind of solid. And actually, Vajrayana contrasts, the nature of body, this form is the Virotana. Normally we think about the Virotana who stays in, who resides in the, in a pure realm, and we treat something like distance from us. But when we really practice the Vajrayana context, the Virotana is within us, and the feeling that we have, sometimes we get hot, sometimes we get cold, happy, suffering, etc., is the nature of Vajra Sattva. And the concept, the nature of concept, we have the concept, kind of recognize like male or female or house or etc., is the nature of Rina Sambhava. And then the fourth one is the Dhiji. Dhiji is in Tibetan, and so I don't know the terminology in English. But Dhiji means actually activity. You have the concept and you abandon things and accepting things. This is the the nature of this is Amitabha. What I'm talking about is the five skandhas. So you will find out which one I haven't got. And the final one, the consciousness, normally interest into to the object, and the nature of consciousness is Amoghasiddha. And in this way, our five skandhas are the nature of five Buddhas, and five poisons are the nature of five wisdom. Therefore, we don't have to find method, from outside, rather than relying upon our own essence. And likewise, we have, this body, and the body is, has, formed through, particles, or the body is formed with form, which is the, which is related to the earth, and the nature of earth is Sanjijima, one of the female Buddha among the five female Buddhas, and we have the wetness or water in our mind, our body, which is the nature of Mamaki. And we have a warmth or fire in our body, which is the nature of Nasakarma in Tibetan, female Buddha. And we have the wind or air within our body. This is the nature of Tamchi. Therefore, when we visualize deities, ourselves as deities, sometimes people think that, it seems that we are making it up, But if you really understand the point about Vajrayana, now you understand that we have this potential, or the Buddha, five female Buddhas within us. Therefore, we are qualified to visualize ourselves as deity. And we said the fifth one is we have space in our body, or it's the nature of the fifth female Buddha in Shima. And also when we likewise when we receive the empowerment, we visualize the the place as palace, and visualize ourselves as deity. And because of this reason, we are appropriate to visualize ourselves deity in the place as a palace. And having discussed a lot about the details about five Buddhas, five female Buddhas, and five earths are the nature of the five earths, five elements are the nature of five female Buddhas, etc. Is mainly connected with the Vajrayana. Therefore, the fourth topic of the Gambopa, Fodamas Gambopa explains like the delusion arises as wisdom. That's the reason why we explained this. And when we understand all of this and meditate upon these subjects, and then you slowly achieve the Buddhahood, the state of Doje Chon. And when we talk about state of Doje Chon, this means that we are able to recognize the essence of the of this nature of mind, which is a manifestation of the 5 Buddhas, the 5 female Buddhas, and 5 wisdoms. And so in this way, you are able to achieve the state of Dojecho within you. You don't have to find this from outside. And we said that's actually completed his morning teaching about 4 Dhammas Gambopa related to the to